What is going on, everybody? I'm back today to talk about a movie that's a few years older now, and I wanted to watch this movie for one particular reason. Recently, I did a review on my channel for the new Shudder original movie called Frey Walka, and I really enjoyed that movie a lot. I thought the performances were great. I thought it was beautifully shot, just very well done. And that was from director Aislinn Clarke. And I noticed that she had done another movie that was available on Shudder, and this is a found footage possession movie that was set in the 1960s, I believe. And I was just super interested in the idea surrounding this movie, and I thought she was a very talented director who did a phenomenal job with Frey Walka. I really liked that movie a lot. And so I'm very excited to tell you about this movie today. And the film we're going to be discussing is The Devil's Doorway. The Devil's Doorway is directed by Aislinn Clarke. In the autumn of 1960, Father Thomas Riley and Father John Thornton were sent by the Vatican to investigate a miraculous event in an Irish home for fallen women, only to uncover something much more horrific. So, like I said, I was very excited to watch this movie, couldn't wait to check it out, and I thought this movie was awesome. It definitely hits some tropes that you see in found footage slash possession genres, but there's so much distinct style here, personality, tone, really great performances that make it a very fantastic watch. And I was really interested in seeing this because if you're unfamiliar, this movie is in parallels to the Magdalene Laundries. And these initially were set up by, I believe, the Protestant church, eventually became taken over by the Catholic Church, and they were set up for, on the surface, they were supposed to look like these homes that women who got pregnant outside of wedlock, a lot of times this would have been prostitutes or just simply women that had sex outside of marriage, were brought to because their families didn't want them anymore. But unfortunately, these were used essentially like slave labor houses. These women were not paid for their work. They got oftentimes horribly abused, mistreated. Their food rations were incredibly small, and you can read all about it online. It's incredibly horrific, and this movie is kind of looking at those places and utilizing horror to kind of showcase the reality of the horror that existed in those places. And I really like when you can take something that is a real life situation or a moment in history and utilize horror to kind of elevate it, to kind of showcase it to people on a very extreme level. And I'm excited to tell you a little bit about it today. So in this movie, you have two priests, Thomas Riley and John Thornton, who have been sent to this church because there was an anonymous call brought into them. They don't know which one of the women at this place contacted them that said the statue of the Virgin Mary that is inside of this house that they live in was bleeding from the eyes. Father Thomas is an older gentleman who's been doing this for a long time, and he's kind of jaded to the whole thing. Like, it seems like he got into it because he had a belief system, but when it comes to these like things surrounding the supernatural, he's like 9 times out of 10, this isn't going to be real. Like, nothing's going to be happening. There's going to be something behind the eyes that's pouring this blood out. And you have Father John, who is younger, and he seems to be a little bit more optimistic that the situation could be real and that they could be discovering something wild that's going on in this home. And it's led up by this Mother Superior who, as we could see early on, she's kind of seedy. Like, the way she talks to these men, the way that she operates, you can tell that there's something wrong with her. You don't know exactly what it is, but she's definitely hiding something. And so early on in their days staying there, some weird things start to happen to the younger priest, Father John. He sees things at night that aren't supposed to be there. There's no children living on the premises, but he's seeing visions of children that almost look like ghosts. And he's incredibly horrified. But like I said, the older father, he doesn't believe anything's going on. He thinks that it's all in his head. And one day they stumble upon something incredibly horrific that opens up all of this new information to them. And the entirety of the film is these two priests trying to figure out what is happening in this place and how can they put a stop to it. So like I said, I thought this movie was fantastic for a found footage movie set in the 1960s. I thought the way they utilized the camera, the way they showcased certain things, it worked very, very well. For starters, the thing I loved about this movie, the performances are very well done. I felt like all of these characters felt incredibly natural, which makes it feel much more realistic. If you have people that are overacting or that don't necessarily fit kind of the vibe that the movie is going for, it won't necessarily work. And I thought all of the performances in this movie were very, very well done. It was made it very believable. There were a few times throughout the film that I Completely forgot that I was watching a found footage movie, which is the biggest compliment that I could pay to a director. Secondly, is production design and aesthetic. This place that they're at has so much distinct personality, and the environment and the atmosphere is what kept me hooked in this. Sure, it's got some found footage tropes. Things pop out around the corner, certain things happen that you're used to in the found footage genre. But what makes this movie so fantastic is the distinct personality that Aislinn gives this movie throughout. I love the way this looks. I love how you can remember different areas in this house that they're in. I love whenever there was a new room that we didn't know about previously that was revealed. There's just so much personality to this. And then the way that it's shot, obviously there's some shakier cam stuff because it's a guy carrying around a camera and it's found footage, but I really liked a lot of the shot selection in here, and I love the aesthetic of this being shot in the 1960s because it would have been shot on film, and it has such a great personality to it, which is something I loved. I thought this movie genuinely had some horrific moments. It didn't solely rely on jump scares to scare you. There is some horrific imagery in this. The camera holds on some things that are just very uncomfortable, and there were a couple of moments in this movie, especially early on, that really sent chills up my spine. And it takes a lot to scare me anymore. And so whenever a movie can get any kind of a reaction out of me, I'm always very happy about it. And this movie definitely got a reaction out of me. And like I said, this is covering some very hard-hitting subject matter when you think about the Magdalene laundries and like the horrible things that happen to those women in real life. And as we learn more and more information about what's going on, it kind of showcases and exposes the church in these moments where they're supposed to be this like holier than thou, we're taking these people in because it's the Lord's work, but revealing the sinister intentions behind it and what's actually going on. And like, you can't always use religion, as this like front to hide your evil deeds. And as someone who was raised in the church, who watched the church do a lot of terrible things throughout my early years in life and into my teenage years, who is far away from church now, I just thought that the movie did a really nice job kind of unraveling that, exploring it in a way that I think hit very hard and that was very, very thought provoking. And I just really enjoyed this. I thought it was a fantastic found footage movie. And I think if you appreciate found footage as a medium, you'll find something to love with this. So have you seen The Devil's Doorway? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was awesome. I loved it a lot, and I'll actually look forward to revisiting it. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.